Whoa there, valued viewer. Before you set your keyboard on fire in my comments section, let me explain. You might be saying, but Ascend, there's no way Halo 4 can be like Halo CE. Look at it, it's so different. To which I would say, yeah, it's really different. It's really different how both games start with Master Chief being awoken from cryosleep, in the middle of a Covenant attack on a ship that's falling apart. Oh, and remember how different it was when you crash landed on that strange and mysterious world with an interesting shape that shouldn't be possible? It was really different how you used a warthog to explore this strange new alien world to only briefly catch glimpses of vistas and sights. Keep talking. Don't mind if I do. I'm the Homeslice Ascend Hyperion, and in today's video, I'm gonna explain to you how Halo CE and Halo 4 have nearly the same story. Well, basically. What do you mean, basically? So you're a liar now? Well, of course there's some differences. I mean, the games were made nearly 11 years apart by two different studios, and when Halo CE came out, they were still calling Chief a cyborg. But I digress. You see, the two games share some pretty critical commonalities, outside of some very literal things like what I mentioned before. Yeah, like what? Well, both games start with the Covenant as the sole antagonist, and we can talk about how these are the only two games where the Covenant speak alien tongue, not English. Spooky, huh? But hey, we don't have to worry about the Covenant for too long. Why? Well, because a few missions in, we found out the Covenant are the least of our worries. Both mysterious new worlds are home to a third-party enemy, one that is extremely ancient and concerned not with the struggle of the humans in the Covenant. The Flood and the Prometheans both join the stories of their respective games and dramatically alter the direction of the story. In both games, you were just worried about getting home until you encounter this third-party enemy. Now, from a lore point, I think it's really interesting how the Flood and Prometheans are the two sides of an ancient conflict that led to the firing of the rings, and that both sides used their reawakening at the hands of the humans in Covenant to just attempt galactic domination again. But that's a bigger topic. Okay, yeah, that's fine, but are you gonna say that Del Rio and Keyes are the same? Because that just isn't true. No, you're right. The two captains are very different characters, but you know what is similar between them? The giant warships they both crash land on the strange alien world without completely destroying them. And good for us too, cause both of those warships are essential to the destruction of the alien weapon of mass destruction we're trying to stop. Wait, what? Yeah, remember? In both games we're trying to destroy an ancient and powerful weapon left behind by the Forerunners. It'll take a big boy boom from a beefy, slender UNSC ship to pull that off. Okay, whatever. You never talked about Del Rio and Keyes. You're right, that's cause you're comparing Del Rio to the wrong character. Who you need to stack him up against with is Guilty Spark. What? How does that make sense? Well, both characters are initially allied with you, but only based on mutual benefit. Both of them turned against you, forcing you and Cortana to pursue the destruction of the Forerunner weapon and the third-party enemy by yourselves. Oh, and man, that you and Cortana versus the world thing is pretty big, since in both games, Cortana is the one who sets the flip-floppy character to switching sides, and that led to the scenario where you and her have to find a more difficult way to resolve the conflict. You might be asking yourself, is this all just coincidence? Well, maybe. If we're talking about how Halo CE and Halo 4 are the only two Halos where the Covenant has just the elites, grunts, jackals, and hunters, then yeah, that might be a coincidence. But these things I've discussed so far are actually really big drivers of the plot in both games. I mean, think really hard about if we changed some of these things. The plot just wouldn't be the same. What if we actually managed to just up and escape the alien world in both games? Then what? What if Spark was cool with blowing up Halo, or if Del Rio agreed to fight the Didact on sight? What if that third-party enemy was just a pushover? I mean, it was pretty important that the Flood and the Prometheans were both a larger threat than the Covenant itself. And while third-party enemies existed in other games after Halo CE set the precedent. In Halo 3 we defeated the third-party enemy. Halo 4 reintroduced one. It's an interesting condition. I'm not dumb. I know the narratives of the two games are pretty different, but many of the deriving factors in those narratives are similar. I also don't think any of this was by accident. I think the writers of Halo 4 took deliberate notes on some of the key parts of Halo CE's campaign and then worked hard to translate them forward. You see, both games share a critical central theme. Both are about the awakening of an ancient power, the result of a random encounter on a mysterious world. And in both games they detail how Chief and Cortana must persevere in spite of all odds to destroy what they've awakened, all while saving themselves. So when I say they're basically the same, don't worry keyboard warrior, I'm talking about these controlling factors. And while you can often draw references between other Halos, I think it's fair to say that Halo CE and Halo 4 have the most direct connection, not just inference. When I say the two have the same story, I'm talking about how the two make a take on a set of very similar conditions, and how the two tell a very genuine Halo story. These two games are highly unique in that they set up universes of mystery and grandeur. Both pit the state of humanity, already struggling in the light of one enemy, against a new one they know nothing about. The gap in between is filled with different material, but playing both back to back, I really got to see how the gaps link up to the same goalposts. At any rate, that's going to do it for this video. What do you think? Do Halo CE and Halo 4 have enough in common to be called the same? Oh, I'm never going to hear the end of this one. Leave your thoughts below, like and comment, share the video with a friend, and subscribe if you have not. Until next time, I'll catch you guys later.